Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to our channel. Today, the market shift in real estate market, a hot topic that everyone has been talking about. Today with us, we have a friend, an amazing colleague, a professional realtor, and a man that has a voice like a well-tuned radio station, David Robio.
Well, Ellis, thank you very much. that was a good segue. Yeah, super excited to be here, guys. Hope you get a ton of value. And I've been watching this for a little bit now, and now I get to sit next to the bonsai and the coffee with my good friend. Thanks,
Cheers,
man.
my friend.
Okay, cool, man. So what are we chatting about today? Oh, my pleasure, man.
Well, it is the market shift and what is going on, and everybody has been talking about that.
Yeah, it's been a very, very pivotal conversation right now.
You said something the other day to me when we were sitting in the other office, actually, about the difference between the actual TV, newspapers, and us realtors, the boots on the ground. So tell me a little bit more about that, please.
Yeah, so pretty much what I was saying is that, to your point, everyone's trying to watch something right now. They're trying to get future predictions, they're trying to understand the market, and the key thing that they're going off of is data. So what is data? Data is a compilation of information that's supposed to paint some sort of picture where you can look into it and get a forecast, right? The only issue I'm finding is the data that they're looking at is 30 days behind, right? So they just released March data, but we're already into April now, right?
Correct.
And I already knew what March data was gonna say because I was living it. So they're trying to analyze the data, whereas I argue that we as top agents are making the data.
We live through it.
We live through it, and they're trying to look at our footprints where I'm already looking where we're gonna be going. So that's the biggest kind of contradictory when I'm talking to people when they're getting the information. I let them know that information, yes, although valid, it is stale dated. So you gotta be mindful when you're getting information. It could literally be week to week to week, right? We feel things, I'm sure you'd agree. Sometimes I just feel like a weekend goes by and then I see the recent sales that have been posted and all of a sudden a new surge of listings and it's literally 7-day span, the market flips
very quick.
Very quick.
The market is so quick.
So quick, and it's not a 30-day span of waiting for what people are gonna be putting into, right? So,
and it does help when you're a full-time realtor, when you have a team, when you're running your business properly, when you're looking at the data properly. Like it makes a difference, right? Because what you also mentioned, who are you talking to? Very important, right? Who are you talking to? Where are you getting your data, information, insight, guidance?
Yeah, well, I think the second part of that whole conversation, what I often say to a lot of people is that, when it comes to real estate, like I just said, who you're getting information from, it doesn't matter that much. People are okay to talk to Uncle Vinny. They're okay to talk to the random guy they see on the elevator on the way to work. But when it comes for finances, people are very specific on who they're taking financial advice from, right? I have very good accountants, pay them very good money, and they take care of my bookkeeping. I had a personal trainer for a huge period of time to help me with my personal fitness goals, right? So things like that, I'm so scrutinizing on who I'm taking my data from. But when it comes to real estate, I feel like I'm competing with everybody to be like, who is the one leading the pack in your thought process, right? So I do take a lot of pride though that when I do connect with a lot of clients, they understand where I'm coming from and looking out for their best interests and how I take care of my family when it comes to our real estate needs and how I take care of my clients, my past clients. They kind of realize, okay, David, you're the real deal. You're going to be the one leading this way, and I let them know as openly as I can. Of course. Feel free to come to me with your questions and let me be the one to validate them. Exactly. Don't just go, oh, well, I assume this, David, so I kind of went on this path. It's like, no. Come back over here. It's okay that you have those thoughts, but let me validate them for you, right? So I think that's what we're getting right now. So it comes to data, but now where are we going in the market? What have you been seeing in the market, man?
So a huge shift. I mean, like what I have been seeing, it's definitely bidding wars everywhere, especially like in Toronto area and Toronto, Etobicoke, Mississauga, and all of that. Outside Toronto, like the Golden Horseshoe, maybe Niagara Falls, Woodstock, and all of that stuff, it's a little bit slower. Although I have seen that properties are selling that are well priced. Which means with the current market pricing and all of that stuff, that's what I've seen, and that the shift happened literally within weeks. Not quick, months, not years, weeks.
It was quick. I think the biggest thing that I've been seeing, and I'm going to put pricing to the side because everyone wants to say, hey, where are prices at? I just like to put that to the side for a minute because prices are a byproduct of market activity. Or the lack thereof, right? So we've seen a pretty calm market the better part of the year because everyone was watching the Bank of Canada. We were actually, if you look at the graph, we were essentially declining for about 6 months as they continued to raise rates, affordability came down, so it's kind of like a perfect mirror image. And then we kind of went stagnant for about 6 months. February was the first month that I've seen in 13 months that actually went back in towards the winning column of prices actually starting to take an incline. What that simply told me was that buyers felt confident again. And that's what I was waiting for. I was waiting for people to say, hey, Bank of Canada, what's going on? And let me just understand and get a better settlement of what my playing field is so I can move forward confidently.
We need to know. We like especially when it comes to central banks, interest rates and stuff like that. That's a huge factor.
And they were almost like marketing to us. Wait till our next meeting.
Yes.
And what that did was it's like, oh, here we go, man. But if you think about it, years earlier, they didn't do stuff like this. They would change the points here and there, and it wasn't that. But because of the state of the market, everyone's going with like a comb through all of their work, like an accountant trying to find an auditing error. Everyone's trying to analyze it so highly to see what they can do to better understand what are we entering towards and where am I going to get my confidence from.
But they have to fine tune stuff too.
For sure.
Because like even things like increasing, making it flat, decreasing will have an impact in the next quarter. Or,
of course.
It's huge.
It's everything. This is how I see real estate. It's a body of calm water, and the interest rates are like rocks. So when the interest rate's going up a little bit, it's like a little pebble. There's small ripples, but lately they've been throwing boulders, and it's like everybody's trying to hang on because they're trying to get their ground. But right now, people feel confident in their boats. They're not rocking too much. And what I'm seeing is basic supply and demand. There is not enough inventory to offset the level of demand. Now, do we have the same demand that we had earlier? That's not my point. My point is, if we don't have enough supply to offset demand, then we are in a seller's market. Very, very basic economics, right?
Sure.
What I'm noticing is south of $1 million, things are moving so quickly,
very quickly
because there's a lot of people who are capped on that affordability. Now, when it comes to geographic location of where values are, I tell a lot of clients, it's almost like those old I guess you can say old, but the stovetops. When you turn it on, the heat from the middle pulsates out.
Expands, yeah.
And when you turn it off, it goes back like this.
Yes.
So now that the market is getting back to pre-COVID stuff where location really matters, being close to highways, major amenities, whereas when COVID was happening, people were going to New Tecumseh, Orangeville, all these far away areas.
like they had different theories and they had who knows and the media and all of that stuff, and they were thinking they would work from home and not be all of that stuff, right?
And then what happened was those markets got falsely inflated too quickly, right? And now that the world's kind of getting back to its regular groove and rhythm, it makes sense that the heat would retract from there and re-densify itself back into those core pockets like a Mississauga, like a Toronto, like a Milton, like wherever the case is, right?
Sure.
So I'm noticing, to your point earlier, those core pockets, yes, we're seeing a lot more activity. Our last listing sold with 24 offers. The one before that sold with 11 offers. The one before that sold with 9 offers. And these are all in the span of like 3.5 weeks. I don't want to say blown away. I'm very happy to see people shooting their shots. Now, it's not crazy like before 200,000 over asking 400,000, but it's confidently getting to the point where we've all identified this is what true market value is based on the recent sales, and it is exceeding it. Not by a crazy amount. The most recent one we did sold for 810,000. The most recent comparable sale on paper was 775. So that's a handsome amount over
5%, 3%, 5%, whatever.
Which is pretty good, right? So,
but still significant what we have seen 3 months ago, 6 months ago.
Exactly.
Right?
And my point is now that we set that new benchmark at 810, there was 25 offers. That means 24 people are still looking for a similar type product.
Left without a house.
And then when the next property goes up and the neighbors called us, so maybe we'll back and take all 24 of them. But I'm connecting with the neighbor and I'm like, listen, look at our competition level. We're not competing with anybody, which means in that particular bracket in Mississauga at that particular price point, it is a very heavy seller's market. Now, if I go to Oakville for $4 million, it's a pretty calm market. Getting that money is a lot more of a different buyer pool, if you will, and it's more of a buyer market at that price point. So I'm trying to tell people, yes, there are buyer's market, but you have to kind of tee it up towards an axis where it says price. So if you're at 5 million, buyer's market, 4 million, buyer's market, 3 million, buyer's market, 2 million, buyer's maybe balance, and then 1 million, seller's market.
Seller's market.
So I'm trying to help people understand these things when they're hearing stuff from the media because they're just focusing on numeric points that make you think, okay, the market's down, but then they're shocked when they see, oh, how did that place sell so quick? Or where's all the listings? Why is there no for sale signs going up, right? So it's very interesting, but again, I think the market's going in the right direction. I'm very happy for where we're going to be heading, to be honest.
So have you noticed that some communities, for example, in Mississauga, are seeing a better light than they have 5 or 10 years ago?
Interesting. And are you talking just strictly in price points?
No, like generally, like for example, let's name a few. Sure. I'm not judging, but we know Meadowville, Clarkson, a
been
couple
a
of
little bit-
pockets.
but it's a
It's
little bit-
been rough, right?
Yes,
Even
okay.
even Malton.
Yes.
It's been rough. It's still Mississauga. It's
Yep.
still Central. It's still whatever it is.
But it's not like an Aaron Mills, where Aaron Mills
But
is
it's
holding better value.
exactly,
and stuff like that.
or poor credit,
Square
or
one. Yep.
exactly. So,
Yep.
but have you noticed that shift, that change? People
Yes, I've noticed. It's almost here's what the simple economic term is. Again, I'm a very basic guy. For those of you who know me, which maybe no one on here watching knows me, I'm a very simple
are.
guy.
A lot of
looking-
people know you, my
Maybe,
friend.
who knows,
Come
right?
on.
But my whole point is, at its simple core, it's economics, right? And the term margin of diminishing return, too much of something then starts yielding negative results. I think a lot of those pockets started yielding too many people, made it very, very dense. A lot of those pockets have older product. Homes built in the 80s and 90s, and for a lot of new people, they look at that and go, that's an old home to me.
Sure.
Whereas Milton has a lot of younger product and maybe not as so dense yet. So I've noticed that, to your point, a Malton, a Clarkson, a Meadowvale. Yes, even if you notice Meadowvale, Churchill Meadows, and Lisgar are so close together, yet Meadowvale is clearly the loss leader. It's actually the lowest in valuations,
Yes.
with Churchill Meadows being at the top, and I think primarily it's due to the age of the home, right?
The
So
edge
I
of
do-
the home, especially like
Yep.
along Eglinton or 10th line, 9th line, all the way to Britannia.
And think
all
about
that
think
stuff.
about it like this, right? Let's say, okay, so even my mom, she's kind of borderline Meadowvale, Lisgar, but she's owned the home for so many years. She has no mortgage. She can all of a sudden rent it out. She could have rented it out 10 years ago and carried it. But if you're buying a new home in Churchill Meadows for 135, it's very difficult to buy it at that price point and try to rent it out because it doesn't make sense. So by default, there's less rentals in areas like that. Sure. Whereas older homes, if they've been in a family for longer, they have a lower valuation, it's easier for people to buy them, make it a rental property rather than a regular family
If that's
dwelling.
what they're looking for sure.
Yeah, and then it's not, it's called a spade. Rental properties often are not as cared for as a regular residential dwelling. So if you have more of those in a dense area, the area starts to slip a little bit. And I think that's what happened with a lot of the older pockets in Meadow. And look, we meet a lot of clients, and I went to school in that area, and a lot of the clients and my friends' parents are meeting with, they're like, it's just not the same. It's a lot more dense, and the properties are kind of, and I don't know my neighbor over here, I don't know my neighbor over here, and they're moving to like a Georgetown or
Lots
like
has happened.
a Milt, and they're kind of just doing the relocation, if you will. So yeah, I think that's a very fair
But
statement.
Mississauga, it's still an interesting city.
It's almost like a
Right?
city inside of a city. There's so many like pocked off communities. Whereas if you go to a Georgetown, it's kind of like, I guess you get really kind of like Georgetown North, Georgetown South, Old Georgetown. But for the most part, that's like not even all of Churchill Meadows, right? Like the whole community in itself, right? So
It'll grow.
I agree.
I think Georgetown.
Oh, they just drew the water lines. It's going to grow a lot. Yeah.
Will grow.
Yeah, man.
I don't know exactly how it will grow, but it will. The population and all of that stuff, like the density will be different, and public transit is not connected to anything as of now.
Not as of now. I mean, I think that could be something that could change. I just think over time everything will change.
Of course.
Period. Right. So
Always does.
it's just a matter of when
Always
those things
does.
happen. But they're doing the right indications with connecting water lines, opening up different postal walks, clearing different lands, and like for those people who don't know. They just don't know. They just think that, hey, this is what it is. But for guys like you and I, and for people who know what's going on, it's like, oh, they're preparing stuff. You can see the city planning acts start changing, zoning regulations start changing, and it's slow, subtle steps in the right direction. So it's just a matter of time. And who has the most money and the most intention to go do something, like a Mattamy, for instance, right? Like they've been building quick, right?
These
they have
guys
so
are-
much land. Daniels, they have ton, and you can actually see. We can pull up and see. Oh my gosh, this whole parcel of land is owned by Mattamy.
Wow,
And
it's
it's
crazy.
just sitting there. Oh, so is this one? So is this one?
But
So
it's
they-
just insane. Like
Yeah.
like Mattamy as a builder, that machine, it built the entire city.
Yeah,
Built
God-
it-
God
built-
bless him, man.
Like
Yeah,
you know what I
yeah.
mean? Like just think about that
Yeah.
for a second.
It's
you know?
wild.
It's not like 100 houses. It's
Yeah. No, it's
1,000
crazy.
houses.
And you know
Not even 10,000.
You know
It's
what
like-
my favorite thing about
it's
Mattamy
like
is? It has
crazy.
nothing to do with the building. Do you know how Mattamy got their name? That always blew me away.
I think is it the daughter or something
Yeah,
like
so
that?
so the main builder,
Matt
his
and
son,
Amy
his
are-
son's
yes.
name is Matt and his daughter's name is
Amy,
Amy.
yes.
So I sell a ton of houses. It's all cool, but when I
Sure.
heard that story, I'm like, that
Touches
just,
you differently,
It's
right?
just so cool, man. The guy literally built a legacy between both his children, and I just thought that's my favorite thing about Mattamy. I look at that. People go, "Who's your favorite builder?" And I go, "Well, pause." But this one is the coolest story, probably, of how he got its name, right? So just a little
and,
quirk in there.
and they have a fair product. I think overall, like the price
Yeah.
point and the design and all of that stuff, right? Like locations, etc. Now, who has the best opportunity today to purchase a property.
I got it. The best opportunity today is that middle class moving up. And what I mean by that is someone who's in a townhouse, someone that's in a semi-detached, someone that's looking to maybe grow their family. But here's the reality.
They already have that property.
They already have it, yeah. So they're the most often the second movers, right? I'll give you a perfect example. One of my really good clients, we had their house in Milton.
Sure.
And he reached out to us and said, David, I want to consider moving up, right? At the peak of the market, his home may be worth $1.05 million, right? Because it's a townhome, the appreciation was there. Sure. But at the peak of the market, $1.05 million, maybe 1.1 depending on the finishes. But the home that we were looking at, peak of the market, was 1.7, 1.6, right? We ended up, his whole spread was we sold for $985,000 in multiple offers, sure. Helped him buy for $1,165,000. That exact same home on the street sold in around that 1.6 million during the peak of the market. So he was able to transition his equity, which he built well in that townhouse, he transitioned it over into a far better product that will yield far more equity in years to go, and he moved up into the market. That right now is probably the biggest advantage that I have for people in terms of moving it. I think the people who, yeah, that was the question, that was the answer. That is the bracket, not gonna overkill it. That is the bracket of people who are getting the best.
So
right
how
now.
we understand, like when we have the peak of the market, okay? In this case,
February
last year or
last year,
whatever,
yep.
right? So the property that is let's say detached house, the perfect lot, this and that, had the most best, most value peak, okay? Although the person that had that townhouse also peaked, but it couldn't peak to that level.
There's no way.
Now this house here went into a different bracket.
Yes.
Went down, but this property
hardly did because of the amount of buyers. Here's the thing,
right?
Underneath $1 million, so all of my investment properties, every investment property I ever buy, I never go over 700,000 because I want to keep it at the point to know that if I buy something at 1.5, what am I hoping for? I have more chances of losing than I do with gaining. So if I stay at 650 to 700,000, I'm always underneath that $1 million. I have the most amount of buyer pool, easiest to get a refinance. I have the best financing options. My buyer can put 10% down, 5% down. The second I go to $1.05 million, forces the buyer to put 20% down. It cuts a lot of people from the whole pool. So I mean, to your point, that's why I advise my client, listen, we're not gonna sell peak price, which was, let's call it 1.1, which is very high. We sold for 985, which is fantastic, but to buy for 1,165 for a product that could have sold for 1.6 million just goes to show the potential of where things could go again. Maybe 2 years, maybe 5 years, maybe 10 years, but he's in a much better situation. Go from a townhouse to a detached home, double car garage, 6-car driveway, no sidewalk across in a beautiful area. Folks,
there you go.
I did a great thing for him. He's a very happy man. Very happy man.
Quick answer.
Yep.
Have you explained to your clients, to one or many of your clients or leads, if you will, last year, this is the best opportunity for you to invest, and they did not, or they did? Like, you know what I mean? Because we all tried.
The answer is yes.
To open their eyes.
The answer is yes.
It will always bounce back.
Yeah, but here's what it is. It also comes down to those same people, and I have a lot of clients, leads, past clients, you name it. They're the woulda, shoulda, coulda people. And that's okay. Just, we're in 2023. People are figuring themselves out in so many different ways and fashions. There's also characteristics that go with those things, right? I know me. I'm not a gambler, but I'm a risk taker. I'm a very big risk taker, and it's proven very well for me. Now, I've also burnt my hand a lot, so I've had experience now to give to other people, but I see the shoulda, woulda, couldas, and they're so low on the spectrum. It's like, guys, we're trying to invest in real estate, not throw it all on black or throw it all on red.
Yes.
And you know what I mean? So yeah, there was a lot of people. Now, I did get a ton of clients, some very great product, and those are my clients more often than not, just well sought after professionals who value professional advice. Those are my easy clients to go, hey, listen, the pre-construction, these builders couldn't sell a lot of their product because everyone was getting so scared. We were scooping up deals with free assignments, free parking, free locker, you name it, because they needed to offload product.
Absolutely.
Extending their deposit out 5 years. Crazy things. And I'm like, guys, they will, before I would submit an offer, they go, okay, David,
we know how
see
that went.
See you tomorrow. 50 offers on the same thing, right? And now they're like, hey, David, you still there? And I go, let me get back to you, right? So it was a completely different, and I knew it wasn't gonna last long. Just like earlier we were saying, like a light switch, the market turns on, it turns off.
Nothing lasts forever, my friend.
No, and it was
down or up.
And
right?
Well, here's the other thing too. I had clients who were, let's say in their 60s. Yeah, probably just, they don't have the spread in their lifetime or where they're getting to the chapter in life to maybe go take an investment really seriously because they were trying to wind down. But I had clients maybe in their 30s, with some money.
Aggressive.
Let's go, because you have time. You have the time on your side, so that when
recoup,
you're
rebalance,
move around, even in your 40s, like you have time. 50s, 60s, and you say, you know, it just doesn't make sense. That's okay, right? I totally respect that. But if you're in your 30s and 40s, and I said this so many times, last year was the best time to buy real estate in the next 10 years, and I feel very confidently in saying that because with the amount of people immigrating to Canada, with the lack of housing currently available,
100%.
with the amount of red tape to actually go build new product in Toronto, with rental rates going through the roof, it's like all these variables. It's like 1 + 1 was equal 2. So why do people think, oh, maybe 3?
Yeah.
Maybe just this time it'll equal 4. It's like, no, man.
No, it's
this
always,
plus this equals this. So when I'm seeing all these factors, I go, I think we're in for I don't want to call it a rude awakening. I think a lot of people are going to be shocked considering the forecast for 2023 was lucky to get 0 value. Yeah. And now we're already up 7% from the beginning of the year. We're up 7% from the beginning of the year, from January.
No, of course.
So what's going on, right? So it's those metrics I was mentioning earlier, right? What's that smirk? What do you got for me, man?
Fun question.
Let me answer it.
Fun.
Okay. I'm a fun guy.
I will give you 3 companies, watch companies, and you have to match them with the car you would drive.
Okay.
Rolex, Patek Philippe,
Yep.
and a tag.
Okay. Rolex, and I can only choose one make?
One make.
Rolex.
And a model.
And a model. Okay, so Rolex.
Okay, or a make, whatever.
Yeah,
come on.
Rolex is pretty entry, so I would say a Mercedes-Benz C300, right? Rolex. Mercedes-Benz C300. Patek, we're moving up in the world, man.
Okay.
Patek is good. I would say Patek is the Rolls Royce of watches, so I would give it a Rolls Royce Phantom. Tag? Honda Civic.
Come on, man.
No, I'm just pulling your leg. So a Tag Heuer, let's see what you'd be driving. If you have a Tag Heuer, you're probably driving a BMW. What is it? What's the entry series? Is it I? I'm not too seasoned.
3 Series. 4
Yeah, 3 Series. Okay, so I would say
Yeah.
BMW's 3 Series. I think that's a good Tag Heuer
category.
Maybe even like an Akira, but you said one, so there we go. We're gonna leave it
Okay.
at that. So that's my answer. Even though I drive a Lexus and a Jag and I have Rolex, I still know. I know when I see Rolex, I see Mercedes. Yeah.
Okay.
That's funny, man. That's a good
Listen,
question.
it's been a pleasure. Thank you so
always,
much for
man.
coming.
Thanks for coming.
I have seen your schedule. You're packed.
I know, man. My phone, I'm scared to flip it
Yeah,
over. But
I
for
know.
you, man, I always got time. Thanks for the coffee, brother. You're just a good dude, man. Appreciate
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
I appreciate you coming, and see you guys next time.
See you guys next time. Cheers.